Well, Chris Hipkins is a seasoned politician. He's been in Parliament since 2008. He entered at the same time as Ardern. They've worked closely through the COVID pandemic. He's held multiple ministerial portfolios. He became a familiar face to many New Zealanders through the time of the COVID-19 pandemic, where he was the COVID-19 minister. So he's certainly seen as a safe pair of hands to take Labour through to the election in October 2023. And actually, he was the only person who ended up putting their name forward for the post. And so he was the number one choice.
Well, he says he'll focus on inflation and a fairer tax system when he takes over, and that's ahead of October's election as well.
Yes, absolutely. He's narrowing his focus away from Ardern's transformational arguments that took her into 2020 and has taken her through till now. And instead, he's having a laser focus on the economy and what it means for most New Zealanders, particularly those that are struggling under those inflationary pressures and the impacts on increased mortgage rates.
Under some of the policy changes, though, it's possible that two controversial planned policies will be axed. First, the plan to merge TVNZ and Radio NZ. What do we know about that?
Well, that's been on the table for the last few years. It's been highly controversial. What they've been talking about is bringing those two media platforms together. There's a lot of pushback from New Zealanders, and coming into the election, trying to sort of strip out all of those areas that could allow them to lose votes will be one of the goals of Chris Hipkins. So that RNZ-TVNZ merger is most probably off the table.
And what's the likelihood plans for the Three Waters reform program will be ditched as well? Why is this so divisive?
So Three Waters has been a really difficult program for the government over the last few years. It was introduced in response to increasing problems around drinking water, wastewater and stormwater. It's been in the control of local government traditionally, and there's a feeling within central government that local government hasn't delivered on their mandates. And so there's been pressure from central government to institute some form of reform, particularly to take democratic decision-making rights away from local government and centralise it into four major entities. This has been controversial, along with an emphasis on co-governance that has been a central pillar of this government's agenda. And so combined, that's just caused a lot of friction, and many New Zealanders are opposed to these reforms. We're seeing a 64% disagreement rate with the Three Waters reform. So it's less clear about what Chris Hipkins will do regarding Three Waters. National, the opposition party has promised to repeal them if they get in the next election in October. It's already passed through Parliament, but whether Chris Hipkins will take it further or whether he will revise some of the legislation, it's still to be seen. It's certainly going to be a hot topic in October 2023 here in New Zealand.
And what is Chris Hipkins' likability factor where voters are concerned, and how is he looking to increase popularity ahead of the election?
Well, in Hipkins' first speech after the announcement that he will be New Zealand's 41st Prime Minister, he outlined a policy agenda that really took it away from Ardern's focus on transformation and shifted towards a bread and butter issue policy agenda that's really facing New Zealanders. And that, again, is mainly the cost of living challenges being experienced by New Zealanders as inflation bites and mortgage rates rise. This shift will mean that Labour Party and the government will be less focused on cultural politics and big picture items like climate change, and instead will move their attention towards cost of living, jobs, crime, education and health. That's what Hipkins has said will be his agenda. How he plays that out on the ground is still unclear, but it will certainly be something to watch over the coming months.
And Julia, how significant is it that the country has its first Pacifica Deputy Prime Minister?
Well, Carmel Sepuloni, who stepped into the Deputy Prime Minister role, is also an experienced and competent politician and ministerial leader. She's been in Cabinet since 2017 and entered Parliament as a list MP when Hipkins and Ardern entered in 2008. So it's exciting to have someone of Samoan and Tongan descent representing the minority communities in New Zealand. It also offers opportunity for those interested in social development in terms of and with art and culture and heritage, all ministerial portfolios she's held previously. So it is a stepping stone. It is a milestone for many. And again, she works well with Chris Hipkins, so they'll probably be a reasonably strong team.
And what about Chris Hipkins' government's foreign policy? Will this remain pretty much the same? How do you think his leadership style will differ, especially on the world stage?
Well, we all know Jacinda Ardern came in under Jacinda mania. She's a fantastic communicator. She has a communications degree, and so she managed to capture the international spotlight when it came to leadership and promoting New Zealand and New Zealand's interests. How Chris Hipkins will perform in that area, he'll certainly have a different style. How that will translate to policy is still a wait and see.
Julia Talbot-Jones, thank you so much.
Thank you.